So it's almost 7. Last night was another just total fuck show of a fucking night. Like, man, seems like how many nights can it go like this? It's like, oh my God. And it is so weird. I don't even know how to explain it. It's like, I guess it's lucid dreaming. I'm not sure. Somebody said something I had said. Somebody said something about lucid dreaming. But to me, lucid dreaming was going in a dream and realizing you're in a dream and then being being more in control. And this is like going in a dream and like discussing stuff. But I don't know. It's not like I'm being like, oh, now I'm going to go to Paris. Now I'm going to go. And that's what I thought more was lucid dreaming, was doing that. But I don't know. There's definitely awareness. So if that is lucid, that I'm in a dream, but the dreams are not like just dreams either. I don't know. It's weird. It's so weird. These things that I have been going through definitely are not things that I have gone through my whole life. Like there's stuff happening that is new to me. So, and it's weird. Like I don't even know how to explain some of the things. The nonstop chatter is like a lot. And after I had said that, um, I went on and saw somebody else saying, I think it was a tarot reader or something, and she was talking about, oh my God, there's so much noise right now. There's so much activity taught. Like it's very loud. Like everything is super intense, and it's very like it definitely feels like things are about to go. Like it's hard to imagine that. I mean, how it's like things are pulled so tight. I don't know what else they could do but to go the other way. So it's like this blowback has to happen because the pressure is so built up. That is like the awakening. And then I had seen some news bulletin thing that said that Joe is being taken off the ballot. So that is some sort of a thing. And then this was so ridiculous too. This news report was sitting there saying that Joe beforehand, he had 81% of the black vote. And then it's diminished down to 71% or something like that. I was like, bullshit. Look how they manipulate shit. There's no fucking way he had that much. There's no way. It is ridiculous. But that is how they try and make it, like black people feel like they're the outsider if they don't support the Democrat movement or whatever. So it's just their manipulation. And, but it's bullshit. That's such bullshit. And, so whatever they're going to do or say or who they're going to try and put onto the thing, whatever this drama that is going to play out now, it was like another move on the board happened because then they said they were going to take Joe off. So what's going to be the reason? What's going to go down? I mean, he had like warrants out for his arrest in some other countries and shit. It's like, come on, get this shit going. And then there's more stuff with, of course, Vladimir saying a whole bunch of shit, like definitely building up this momentum. And then this going with the North Korea and stuff. So they're building this dramatic situation. And then there's stuff still going with the money. And then it's Argentina or someplace that all their power is out. It's like for 7 million people, there's no power. And they don't, I don't know. There's a whole thing. But that is like how I was saying a while back, how there's like isolated things in different places. that those people are there for those situations to play out because it goes with their soul lessons and stuff. So that is why there's big groups that go through these different things in different areas. It's like all those souls came to that area to go through whatever it is that they're going to go through, because it has to do with whatever, with their soul lessons and whatever it is that they're there to accomplish or finish, like go full circle or whatever. So, but that doesn't mean like the power is going to go out every single country and every single thing. But whatever these people are going through with this and whatever they have to do to stand up for themselves, and there's a whole thing about that they have been selling their energy. And then I think over here they've been selling ours too. I think that is one thing that they do that is a bunch of bullshit, is taking resources and making people fight for resources. And then when you, like, there was a video of a kid in Africa carrying this big giant fish on his head, and they were talking about how it was very heavy. And this kid was carrying it, and everybody was freaking out. And the fish is worth, like, I don't know, it was like a couple $1,000, or I want to say 2,000, but it could have been 20,000. But what the kid's going to get is $50. And see, that's what they've done in Africa. In a lot of these countries that they had turned into like ghettos and stuff, the places have resources, it has stuff, but they force the people into poverty and ghettos and take control of the resources so that that they can charge people. But in some cases, it goes beyond that. Then it's like restriction. It's like that they aren't allowed things. Things are way out of their reach and stuff. So they go further and further, these people in control and stuff. But in some of these countries, see, they've been doing this for a long time too, where you sit there and say like about this religious wars going on in the Middle East and shit for a long time. They've been doing this shit for a long fucking time with taking resources, getting people to fight, taking land from this group, and then enslaving them and making them do the work. And it's just this nonstop of, well, I'm bigger than you, I've got the power. And that is like when they're wielding their credit score in our face, like, well, they've got the power because they can make or break you and stuff. That's why we've all got to go like, well, we're not going to play this game anymore. And right now it's really falling apart too. There's people being arrested. So, and I don't know if it's just corporate people, management companies or what, but they're arresting landlords because of the thing against it's the same thing. It's on repeat, these big class action things and the things that the people keep getting in trouble for. And it's this driving up the price that they have control. That's what this thing is with the insurance, all this shit. They tell us you have to have this, you have to have that, and then they drive up the prices and like isolate us into having to pay. Like we don't get a shopper. There's no, everybody would be iced out who would give us a better deal. Like they just do this just to make sure that we have nothing, that we don't have any money, that we're stressed out. We got more bills than we have money coming in, that we never feel like we get ahead. We always feel like that we aren't good enough. We are always questioning. It's like always in a state of like, how can I do better? Where could I get? Where maybe I should get a different job. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that. Just this scattered thinking of desperation, of not knowing how to get out of the mess. It's kind of like they keep everybody in like a panic state of like, you know, just panicking. Like they don't even know what to do. I've tried everything. I don't know what to do. I'm trapped in this web. And so these landlords are actively being arrested and stuff, and FBI swarms or whatever. But at the same time, there's tons of people whose rent is being jacked up really high. One lady was talking about she was waiting for her appointment to go see this apartment, and I guess it was in an income-based one. A lot of they do these income-based, credit score, all this bullshit. And so she was going to go look at this apartment, and within the week, they raised the rent $300, which made her not be able to afford it. And so she no longer met the requirements because she had to make a certain amount. And so she was losing on that place. And she was panicking. There was other people who have been saying that their rent just went up 100, 300. There's all sorts of dramas going on. I saw one woman, and she was talking about like a year and a half ago, she had to move out to the ghetto, the inner city. And so she kept saying in the hood, that she was living in the hood, and it's real like garbage, crime, just, it's like what a third world country is. It's like what they do. This is what they do. Isolate, create poverty, beat people down, get them to not feel good about themselves, get them to commit crimes or do things to each other, to hurt each other, because these people know that is going to hurt your soul. And that you're going to have this inner turmoil, this inner pain, and you won't even know how to solve it. You won't know how to fix it. And so you turn to what they offer. They always have a pill if you got insurance, I guess. But they got them on the streets anyways. They sell the pills and shit on the street. And they sell alcohol in every way. And then think about, like how that was when everything was shut down, how that was open. And probably gun stores too. So the people, oh yeah, because the lady, so she had moved into that neighborhood, and she said, she just wanted to get out of it. She said it's just bad. And, it's the kind of thing where there's crimes going on all the time, and drugs being done right out in the streets and stuff like that. And where you're not safe walking around as a woman, probably as a kid, even a teenage boy would be targeted. I saw a man talking about his survival thing, and he was out walking, and a group of boys came up to him and just started shooting him. Well, as soon as he was down, they said, see ya, homie, and shot him 7 more times. The guy who was talking about his story was seeing Angel get in front of him and blocking all of the bullets. He woke up the next day, I think, or a few days later, and found out like how he was all shot up and stuff. And I'm sure it was like a gang. That's what they do in order to get into be considered a badass with the other gang members, is you just go out and do senseless murders to get in. So that happens a lot. And but this guy lived, and his story is about survival. But the thing is that's what it's always about when you don't pass, because it wasn't like a near miss or something. No, it was because that was supposed to happen. You were supposed to wake up to your soul, to the heavens, to your communication, whatever it was. You were supposed to, snap out of it at that time. And so it feels like a near miss, but a near miss is really just a wake-up call. And it's not like, oh, I could have died. It's something that people do die from. People do pass from these certain things all the time, but it's not a for sure thing, because this isn't what people think it is. This place is not what people think it is. It's different. But so this woman was saying that she wanted to get out of the hood, and she said this is real weird, because this is over the past week. She had seen like 4 white guys. She said never ever see white people. And she said, and the guy's just walking by, hey, You know, like, so she said now they've got white people moving in the neighborhood, and that just shows how bad financially the things have become, because people are now having to move into the cheapest housing, and it just keeps getting more and more. But there was also people who were living in the cheapest housing. So see, then that bumps them, because there's a whole thing what they do too with this housing market, this gentrification or something. Like, it shows it, I think, really well in that show Shameless. Um, but you know, Shameless is a lot of stuff to but how there is like people who, like in this part, I don't remember if they're in Philly or something, but so in certain parts there's like communities, realities, and certain, it's like their own group, it's their own world, and we have these all over the place, and people just don't realize, like, you know, you're entering different realities when you go to different places. Like, a lot of people are catching on, like they're going on trips and they're going into certain towns, and they're getting weirded out and stuff by stuff going on. Like, I think it's because things are going to become a lot more clear to people. Like, you're literally going into different realities, and a combination, like a combination realities, just like 7 million people are in this country that has no power, because that is what their soul came to, whatever experience, that whatever that goes on with their lessons through that stuff, that's what they came for. And so the so in these realities, because it goes back again to this period of time where, because it wasn't that long ago. That's the thing. They want to make you think like this was a long time ago about this discovering America and stuff. No, even this bullshit with Hawaii and stuff, that has been since I was born. Like, it was like in 1948 or something, when they were like fighting with this with the king and queen, or I think it was a queen by the end of the whole thing. But the royal people of the tribes that are, I'm not sure all the different names of tribes, but whatever tribe it was that was in Hawaii. And seeing they're very connected to their God, which there is something about their island is their God or something. It shows that in that Moana, that the island stands up, like, so it's like they're connected to the soul of their reality. And then you have these missionaries come in and tell them that, you know, they're barbarian, they're not civilized, and they need to help their children. This isn't how civilized people live, and start trying to change them and change their kids. And if you go against them, they will, well, they'll kill you. So but so that same thing has been going on for a long time. And like I said, there was already people who were escaping Europe and stuff, and they had already found solace here. Like, that is what they found a lot with that up in the Appalachians and stuff. There was all these different settlers, and they became like a combination. And that is kind of this weird language that that the people have up there, is like this combination of these different people who had settled there. But then the government, the church, whatever you want to call these motherfuckers, that they don't want these isolated groups and tribes. I mean, they're still fucking going in the Amazon trying to break shit up. Like, these people are just monsters, I swear. It's like, give us some goddamn peace. It's like, you've got no peace with these motherfuckers. But, and there's that thing, was it Alex Jones or something? Right after I had just said that about they're doing something that's another level besides just the flesh and blood. It's like they realize that they can do something, like we're machines. Like, there's some other level. You know, it's like they're trying to override the system and take us over, not just make us sick. Like, there's something more going on. And then I just saw Alex Jones, somebody talking about something like that on the podcast. See, that to me is confirmation. Is like, see, they are doing something. It's just like, it feels like I don't know how to explain it. Like, you just kind of see stuff. And so they wanted to move the people out of the mountains. There was still some left, but then you started getting people bullying people, like getting people like they're hillbillies, and then some of the places they drew people into jobs, and then they gave them really hard jobs like miners and shit. They probably fucking killed some of those on purpose, like just fucking blow it up. Oh god, these people. So it caused lots of problems. Always, that's going on right now in our society. People are starting to see like, oh, well, I have a job, but what about this? What about this? I just saw a guy talking about his job, just sent out a thing that it is 8 hours a day mandatory. He said he has students and stuff that work at his place that he works. How are people going to do 8 hours a day mandatory? But they're going to keep freezing people out and keep pushing people. And those people may have like a real dependency on the system. And so they're going to be pushed hard to let go of it. Everybody's on different levels. So you just can't get caught up in all the drama, even though they want us to get in fear and be scared of all the drama. But these are all different things playing out. And so when they started trying to draw people into cities, is there was a big push for New York, because that was a place where I guess that's what they did with the Ellis Island and stuff. They made it like the portal to come into. So they got a lot of people couldn't get past there, because this is a long time ago. So they had all these different people. Like I had said before, like they had like an Irish place, Italians over here, the Jewish people over here. Like they all went into their own little, like kind of like by San Francisco, where they have what is that called? It's like where all of the Oriental stuff is. It's called Chinatown. I think it's called Chinatown. Maybe not. Maybe that's the movie. I don't know. But I think it's called Chinatown. But so they had that kind of situation. Even that was still going where I don't know if it still is like that way. If you went to like Queens or Harlem or some of these different places, I think there's been so much different people now, so much different influence of different people moving into places and stuff. So I think it's a lot more flooded with a lot of different people. But it used to be that they were like divided and feuding. Like, and it probably also had to do with religion and stuff. Like, I don't know, like there's definitely Catholics, but there's always been this Protestant thing. I don't know. They're always getting people to fight over their fucking religion and shit. And culture, just over how you're different, how you're everybody's like raised in these certain ways because that is the reality of that group. And then they get people to fight over it. There's nothing to fight about. There's nothing where, well, this group has to change to be like this group, or this group has to change to be like this group. No, they're all we just got to learn how to have respect for the different groups and allow them to live out their thing, whatever it is they're here to learn. And so they, but they had it where they created ghettos and stuff, like kept people in poverty. They kept them in fighting, and a lot of it, that's where there became a lot of like gangsters and stuff. They became like fighting. That's what they create, is this poverty and criminals come from poverty. And so, and don't forget who's telling you what the crimes are and who's creating the justice system. Same persons that are creating the crime as creating the justice system. We're just following through trying to survive. So they get these people to do these crimes and stuff. And then, like in that show Deuce, it was showing, like it was still, in how they get all involved with politicians, especially community. That is why there's going to be such a push for smaller community involvement, because that is where it would start, in the smaller communities. But there was always the backing of the bad people, but the bad people are going down. So there it was changing. But so there would always be these payoffs, and that is like what we have in communities. Like, why is some of this ridiculous shit with building these development, the way they're doing the development stuff in the city councils and the city planners, the people who are involved in that kind of shit. There's so much corruption. And then it gets up in the mayor. Then it starts even getting worse when it starts being like, who they're sending to Washington and shit. So it just starts from the core and just goes out. But so in the city planning and stuff, so all that stuff is done on purpose. Like when I was out here and I was trying to get people to see, like they think, oh, well, they put in this new development that's going to make our houses worth more. For a minute, while they drive up the prices of those, that's it. It's like, this is not just making us have a nicer neighborhood. No, it's going to make the neighborhood go down in the long run. It's crowded. The streets are run down, like the whole thing. Right now, there hasn't been a lot of activity. There's been so much activity everywhere, though. All of these different houses and stuff. Oh my God, the amount of noise and intensity outside. Me and Stella were sitting outside all day yesterday, and then today's supposed to be sunny and tomorrow, so we're going to sit outside and enjoy being outside for these days. And so fucking noisy. And even yesterday, there was some weird thing where it sounded like this, like something popping and going. And so I looked, and there was all this white, like looked like confetti or something going. And it looked like it came up from like the sun, like the sun puffed out or something. And then it made this noise and all this confetti started falling. I was like, what in the world? And I don't know. And then so then I started trying to see what was falling, because it was going all over the place. And it couldn't have been from way up there. I don't know where it came from or how it made that noise, but it was definitely up by where the sun was. So if there's things up in the air that, because well, how they can even do with frequency and stuff, but like they know how to do gases and stuff. So think of like, there could be like these balloons up in the air that are full of like, I don't know, bugs and toxins and bullshit. And then the sun heating up causes it to burst, and then it shoots out. Because that's what it sounded like. And then what would look like was falling with confetti, but then when you look down, you couldn't see anything. I was like, okay, this is fucking weird. And one thing fell right on my chair, and it looked like a little black seed or something. And I was like, okay, where's the things that look like this is weird. So it's just, the frustration of constantly being fucking goddamn poisoned all the goddamn time. And, oh yeah, I just saw this woman's video, and she was talking about just all of a sudden there was these men in her yard, and all their yards seemed to be open. And they all had a lot of property, it looked like. Not like a huge amount of property, but they all had big yards. And she said everybody has a garden in their yard. And then they're backed up against, like, it looks like a forest. And so she said all of a sudden these men in the colored vest things, but they all have machetes, just come in her yard. I'd freak out. A bunch of men just coming in my yard with machetes. And they couldn't speak English. And she was trying to ask them what they were doing, and they couldn't communicate. So they just went down the whole way, the whole stretch behind her house, all the way down behind everybody's house along this forest, hacking shit away and spraying. They sprayed it all. And she said it happened a couple days ago. Now everything's turning brown over there, and everybody's garden is just right by that. And what's going on in Idaho? And to me, I get the government telling us, like, well, you have to do this, you have to do that. But what I don't get is where people just keep doing it. Like, are they turning the water off? Or are they just going to try and charge the farmers for using water? Like, and this is waking people up. Like, I mean, this is obviously waking up some more farmers and shit. Like, they're saying this is what will be the Dust Bowl. And this is what they did for the Depression. But so what they did, though, is they created these ghettos and stuff. And so people would get locked into their area, and say, like, over in Philly. So in this case, it was like a bunch of kids born to an alcoholic and a drug addict and who had mental illness. And so, of course, they lived down in the ghetto. And down there, you can get like big old houses, like in Spokane, you get big old giant houses. One thing that started taking over a lot of ours was caregiver places. And there's so much insurance fraud and shit, those things. Like, there's going to be more and more problems, because more and more of those places are going to, it's going to have to be like more, more people with integrity stepping in. I don't know how some of this is going to go. Some of this is going to be like a lot of people who are super dependent on the system are just going to pass. I don't know. But there's, when you have a big dependency like that, they just can fuck you over. And I don't know, like, how it's gonna go. There could be some places that people will open up, and there are gonna be a lot of healing centers. So maybe some of these people who are, you know, as the insurance companies close, like all this shit, if these people are going to be moved into like healing centers or something, because there's a lot of people who live in these caregiver centers, lots of people. And that's just one city I know of, but I'm sure there's like in every city, there's lots. And because it was a way that people could get rich, like the people who own a bunch of them over in Spokane. This is like the gentrification kind of thing too, is so the people who own them, they would pull up, and they're always super dressed up, like go to the fanciest stores and buy their clothes, pull up in their Mercedes, and go into these houses that are run down, not taken care of, with staff that is beat down and worn down by overworked, and not good food or anything. That always people's rent for their little room. Sometimes they have to have several people in a room. Is exactly what their Social Security payment is. So it's so skeezy, man. So a lot of those things are going to go down. But so, and then on this one, in this area, because this ended up being called, like in ours in Spokane, it was called Felony Flats. And I would have to go down there and work sometimes, because my last job, when I was the mental health nurse, I had to go out to a lot of their places. It was kind of like being a social worker. I loved that job. And that was the job I had wanted ever since I had become a nurse, too. I finally got there. After all the bullshit in the hospitals and stuff, like, finally get there. And then, but, you know, that's the way the cookie crumbles. It was the way it was supposed to go. There's nothing, you know, I wasn't meant to do that. I got a taste of it, though. It was, but that's how I saw, like, this other side of this, how these people lived and shit. And, oh, man, it was aggravating. And, but so down there where Felony Flats is, it's all these really old houses. It's like the oldest houses in the community. And so really old houses that need work and shit. And so it ends up being poor people who can't work on them. The houses get more and more run down. and the neighborhoods get more and more run down. It gets more and more filled with drug addicts and junkies and prostitution and stuff like that, crime. And the people, don't have cars, so they commit crimes on each other. And then, but it was right up on the river. And so it's Spokane. It's really pretty in Spokane. They kept that downtown, like the old buildings, and then it has a river that runs right through, and it has like a dam. It has like a waterfall. It has some bridges. It's really cute. And so the Felony Flats went up by, because it was like on a cliff. So the river's down here, and this would be up on a cliff. So there was like a little strip in here. So you got all these houses back here. They have a little strip that they went in and put in these like $1 million condos all along here. Because they have this great view, and so these $1 million condos. That's the gentrification too, is so they drive the cost on these other people. It changes. So where do these other people go? Because this was their community, this was their place. And so that is in the show Shameless, they show it, I think, like Philly. But so these people live in one of these old houses with a lot of it is about their drama with having parents like that, and the kids, and how out of control the kids are, and it's just this wildness. And but at some point, gay people start moving in and buying up these houses, and so start buying houses next to them and fixing them up. So they have enough money to move in and fix the houses up. Whereas the other part of this community has just been driven down, down, down. So then you have this coming in, and it doesn't help build the community like you would think. And this happened, I remember back when I was a teenager, this happened in Dallas, in Oak Cliff, in Greenville. And it was the same kind of thing. It was down by Cedar Springs. And down by Cedar Springs back then, that's where the prostitutes were. That's where my boyfriend's apartment was. So that's where I would go down to that place. And so I know the area. And then back there was Greenville. And so all the gay people started moving in down there. And that's also down by where the clubs were and stuff. And the gay people were really coming out then. And so they were buying all these houses, and they were going in and fixing them up. So cool. Like that area became like, you just wanted to drive through because that was so cool. That's what I was saying before. Once this all starts going down and we start building communities, that's what we're going to have, like communities that have money, that what they can do with their reality, how they can change it. And it's going to be really cool. But this manipulation to us through this money, all their laundering, all their harvest, like all their shit, man. It's just, oh yeah, there was this woman who's speaking out right now too about, she was on like an interview or something, and talking about how bad it is for those things, the things that we are just becoming aware of. Shit has been going on for a long motherfucking time. It has been like in some countries, and they've had awareness of it. They knew what they were fighting for a long time. But see, they beat them down and cause them to be thorough, and they keep communication distant, like where, there's so much, it's real easy to just get all caught up in your own stuff and not have the awareness of like what they're brutalizing, and they're stealing all these people's parts and killing them and forcing them into a short life of prostitution, because then they're at the end, and it's just horrible stuff. And so she is talking about that. And these kinds of things are going to keep going and going and going. Like Elon keeps talking about shit. Like, I don't know, Joe Rogan, Alex Jones, like Terrence Howard, like all these people are just going to keep, it's weird too, to me, like Justin Timberlake. Like, I don't know. I, I'm kind of curious too about some of these kid actors who, if he really is a perpetrator too, like, if they've just really broken these people's minds. Like, something weird, man. And this Jaguar Wright, all the stuff she's saying, now she's really going in hard on Diddy and Jay-Z's good old buddy Barack. Like, let's look at this relationship. It's like, oh well, I'm sure he was at some of those parties. He likes Pound Town, that's for sure. There was that other guy who came out and was talking about meeting up with him to do crack. And right away, I mean, there was no, let's just do it right here in the car. And that guy's interviews going around and stuff, but he was already killed. Like, he was, red tide. But so then the people move in to the neighborhoods, they fix the houses up, which drives the prices of the neighborhood up. And then the people can no longer afford to live in their neighborhoods. And I don't even know the whole thing. But there's a whole thing. There's a lot of stuff coming out about. There's guys that have done it on purpose, like strategically. They go in and they buy certain things, and they don't do anything. Like go in and buy buildings or something, and they don't do anything, and then go buy a house and then let it go to shit. Like there's a whole thing that they do to set this up, to create these ghettos, and then it's just to keep us in a goddamn storm all the time and to keep us beat down. That's why you got to fight against it. You can't let them win. You can't let them just beat you down and make you feel hopeless and helpless. You got to see, like, this is a game. This is your opponent. And you got to outsmart them. And what they are after is your soul, your mind, your joy. So you got to figure out how to find it for yourself. And there's lots of things in the world. There's lots of joy. There's lots of happy things. There's lots of good things. There's a lot of good things that are going to come from all this too. And so, staying focused on the good that's going to come from all this sadness and this destruction, but really, being somebody who went through the sadness and the destruction and loss and stuff, and seeing that it was the best thing that ever happened to me. So that's why I know that, the people are traumatized when they're going through it, but then there'll become a point where they'll realize that this is the best thing that ever happened to me. This changed everything for me. This put me in a new direction. And it's going to, be good, but it's still got to go through this part. It's super scary. And another thing too, I was thinking about is me and Stella went out to walk yesterday morning, and I think it was just, I'm so messed up on time and stuff, but the neighbor, there's a couple of neighbors who keep saying, oh, I really want to talk to you, but Stella just barks. And so they will, I don't know, I think people think like I'm just going to go and leave Stella and go and visit and stuff. And, but I don't know, I'm not lonely like that, I guess. And so so when we were walking by, some women were leaving her house, and they were going, okay, well, we'll see you next Tuesday then. And so I was like, okay, see you. And I was like, oh, this must be a Bible study. So they must be getting together to have a Bible study every Tuesday or something. And then on TikTok, I have been seeing, it's like a goddamn frenzy of these fucking, I don't know what you call them. Somebody goes live. It's like Zoom calls. It's like there's all these people on here talking and debating about stuff. And it's a whole bunch of different stuff, but it's super intense, man. And there's so many. And so the person, okay, so oh yeah, the Bible study thing. So I was thinking, because even with the people in these call groups and stuff, and the Bible study, especially the Bible study, it's like as this tension and stuff builds, people's desperation or something. And I bet you there's a lot of people who are in constant Bible studies right now, reading the Bible and stuff. And to me, see, that's where you gotta, like, what is the panic? Why are you panicking? Like, if you think this is the end times, this is what, and you're waiting on Jesus. Like, I don't think that they all believe this stuff that they try and think that they believe. They don't feel it. They may try and convince themselves, but they don't feel it because it's not real. So it'd be hard to feel. But they try and convince themselves, and on some level they believe it. But then as all this stuff is happening, it's like this panic. And I don't know. Like, they all think like, well, maybe they're going to go to hell. Maybe it's going to hurt or something. But don't forget, just like how that guy who got shot by those kids, and because he got shot once, he went down, and then they went over him, and he looked up at him and said something like, please don't, or something. And the guy was like, see ya, homie. And seven point blank bit. I think it was like a 45. It was like a big one. And so he got holes blown all over, but he said he saw an inner, so in his mind, he's thinking it's a angel. You can think like however you want to perceive, but these guardians, these energies that watch over us and take care of us and stuff, in this buffer. And so that is a thing too. As I had a friend who had been in an accident, a really bad accident, and it was the end of her drinking. And she was drinking and driving, and she went off of a cliff and ended up upside down in a stream for like 7 days or something, 5 or 7 days, upside down in this stream in a wrecked car. She was all broken up too. Her hip she was all broken. And I swear she was like upside down or turned on her side. There was something weird. And of course, it's one of those things that got her like 2 minutes before she was going to die. But she said too, I've heard this so many times, anybody who goes through this stuff, that there's these angels with you. You don't even know what's going on. You have no awareness of time. There's angels with you. They talk to you. You think that there's other people with you. It's like people begin to, like, they think they're hallucinating or something. But it's because you go into a different realm. You go into a different, that's made me emotional. So you become aware of this other realm, and that other realm is around us all the time. So there is something that buffers the pain. So like, even if over here, like, an earthquake happens and the trees start falling, and tree falls on you, you're not going to feel the tree falling on you. You're not going to go through all of that stuff. You like leave your body. Your consciousness doesn't stay in that experience. So you don't have the experience. And that's in so many NDEs and stuff. You can go in and read those, and you see that people don't go through all of the pain and the trauma of the death experience. So I don't know if it's why all these people are panicking, because they feel like, well, it's the end times and we're all going to die, and a lot of them think they're going to be raptured. So, I mean, that shouldn't hurt. But I don't know why they're all like in this panic, like, let's get to the book. We got to read the book. What does this one say? Oh, and talking to, like, I don't know. It's weird. It's like this other level. But that's what I was saying yesterday. That group is going to have the hardest time. That group has got to be in the third group, even though there's a lot of people who are in the government part. Then all these different people, see, they've got all these different parts. So some people are really wrapped up in medical and religion. There's a lot of people really wrapped up in medical and religion. And still dependent on government. They still are like, well, we got to get the right guy in there. And it's like, oh my God, you guys. But to me, The ones that are the most locked into religion are going to have the hardest time when this shit starts changing into this more magical, spiritual kind of world. Uh, it's going to be super confusing because they are kind of, like they think things talking into you is the devil. I've seen them sit there and say yoga is the devil. Like all this stuff is the devil, the devil, the devil. So, yeah, that's programmed into them. So when things start changing, there's even a clause in their book or something that tells them at the end times that there will be this movement of this spirituality that's going to be like this fake to draw you, that like that's the Antichrist, to try and suck you out of Jesus' favor real quick before you get raptured or something. So they're so programmed in to this belief system. They're going to have the hardest time with it. And I think they get so cut off from themselves because it is part of it is the programming, where even if you say, yeah, but what about this? They're like, well, you just got to believe it. You just got to believe it. Got to trust. Got to trust the Lord. Got to trust the word of God. And that's the word of God. So it's just so programmed. Those people, I think, will have the toughest time as this stuff plays out. But there is so much panic about, but with all these different people, and there's nothing to panic about. Like you're wasting valuable time to panic. Like you have more better things you can do with your time, and than to feed fear. And I would say, use your time to honor yourself, to heal yourself, to value yourself, to recognize yourself, to clarify yourself. It's all about you doing the work on you. And, and not in this having the ability to shut off the drama. You can have the awareness of it, but you can't get pulled in and sucked down by it. And there's so much, like, Jesus Christ. This lady trying to sell her kid, 18 months, trying to sell her child, 18-month-old child, for $500. That's poverty, man. That's poverty. And that is everywhere. Like, this isn't going to be an isolated incident. I in 2020, I saw, I couldn't watch it. It was too gruesome right off the bat. But it was a documentary that was done on the traffic situation. And it starts out with somebody who's involved in it. One of the people a broker, like a gang guy, broker, who buys them and then sells them or something. And so he was talking about how it's so horrible. The stuff you see is so horrible. Like women having their kids and selling them and stuff like that goes on. People selling their kids, and they have one of them on video trying to. And so he's trying to negotiate, and he's like, 'cause she wants to sell her baby. And I don't think she's given birth to it yet. She's setting it up. And she wants to know how much she can get. And so he's telling her, because the parting out things, you get more money. There's, but then he starts saying, well, something about you can sell them to a pedo. And I don't know, he's giving her some stuff and she just doesn't care. She just wants the most money. She could care less. It's nothing to her. It's like, that is where I guess we do need to have some, clinics around to get these babies out of these people sooner or something. Like, but this is between them, and it's weird because you think of it as like between them and their God, but it's really between them and themselves when they see, because you can't get away from yourself. And there's not going to be any God wasting his time standing over you, tapping his foot. No, you will monitor yourself. You will have to face yourself. You will have to see the darkness that resides inside of you. You will have to see what the horrendous things that you will do to other people. And there's so much more stuff playing out. So, those soul groups doing those things. But as the collective, as the whole, that is where we have to see how dark things have gotten. Like there's places where it's like they farm women, and they make them have babies, and then they take and I saw something where a woman was talking about being at one of those places, or something about one of those places, and that some of those women are told that their babies are going to families, like they're being sold to rich families. And that's not what's happening. So if that's different, these women who are also prisoners being forced into baby farming, just like how humans force dogs into breeding for them. Like, it's the same energy. As why there's so much falling apart in all these different things. It's all like linked up. And there's so much falling apart with how we treat animals. And there was another one of these weird nature things where a guy, in another miracle, a guy just got a new boat and was over off of like Marina Del Rey or something. So down in Southern California, and he got a new boat, so he took it out for a ride, and it found a pod of dolphins and was following him, like they were leading him, and they led him. It was 3 miles offshore. They found a naked woman out there, and she couldn't even lift her arm barely. She just like did that, and he could see. And she'd been out there 12 hours naked and 3 miles offshore. They got her, rescued her, and she was like 22 or 23 years old or something. And she had gone for a midnight skinny dip, and the undertow carried her out and went way out there. And another one of those things, she was minutes away from death. 12 hours out there in open water. All you would see is water. Every time you would feel something go underneath you. Oh my God. And all the creatures and shit. And I just saw videos saying that over here in Washington State, we have the most sightings of UFOs of any other place. There was some more sightings, like in San Diego, something flew over down there. There's going to keep being all these dramas and stuff. This guy was talking about a weird situation and with the Men in Black and stuff like that. All this shadiness, like all of the destruction that has been done towards us, this creating ghettos in third world countries, has all been done on purpose. They're trying to do that here. They use it to their benefit. They create poverty, to create crime, to jail us, to have access to the kids that don't have parents. It's just a warped world that they wanted to create and that we participated in for a long time. And we all thought like that was what life was. Well, this is what life is. This is where you live. And it's dog eat dog world. And it was never satisfying. Everybody was always feeling rejected, dejected, down in the dumps, suicidal. My stomach's growling. And so that it was so destructive. And but now it's all going to be changing. But it's like you got to pull yourself up out of the depression. You got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps to move forward. You got to get your shit together. You got to put yourself in the right direction. And another thing I was thinking too is like to young people, it's real easy to stay in shape when you're real young. But then it's when it starts becoming a challenge. That's when people start letting themselves go, is when it starts to be, a challenge where you have to put effort into yourself. And that is another thing too, that they keep people strung out so that they don't have time to give yourself. And all these people losing jobs and then panicking, like they got to go get another job and stuff. You got to just quit paying your shit. Just stop paying your shit. Let the stuff right out. Quit worrying about a goddamn credit score. Quit thinking that this is our life forever. Let this one fall apart. But they, so the, um, so the people, you gotta just let the shit fall apart. You gotta stop worrying about the things that you worry about, like your credit score, and because it's all going to, it's all going to work out in the end. Like, there's going to be new neighborhoods, there's going to be new communities, you're going to get a different place to live, a different house. It's not like you're going to, and everything is going to go free. Like right now, they just want to get us locked into the, $1 million fucking, because even if you get a house for like 350,000 over the 30 years or something, you pay like $1 million. I mean, it's ridiculous. Wow, they mark shit up. I mean, it pisses me off on this car thing. This car would have been paid off. They double it on doing their fucking loans and shit. It's fucking bullshit, man. So, but the, hold on, because I have a bunch of stuff going through my head. But anyways, you just got to ride this shit out, and you got to be your own cheerleader. You got to keep yourself going and keep redirecting yourself and seeing the point and the purpose. Don't get caught up and don't get caught up in all this fear. And like some of these groups, they're just like get together just to scare each other, just to all stay scared. And I don't know. I just think I just, to me, I just see, what's going on. It is the ending of this one world. Yeah, it was some bullshit. Yeah, it was pretty shitty, but we all participated. And on a soul level, we all came here for it. And on a soul level as well, we've all learned from it. We've learned through these experiences. So there's a lot of purpose and point to going through it. And so as this one is ending, and then to understand that in endings, there's always beginnings, and to understand the cycles that it goes through, these different cycles, like different life cycles of experience, and that we're going into this one, the age of Aquarius. I don't know if that would be every place in the galaxy is going into something called the age of Aquarius, or if it's just this reality right here is going to go into this age of Aquarius. This pocket of reality is going to go into widespread love and acceptance. But also, it is once we go outside of the ice wall, it could already be like that. And that's why we're contained, because we aren't of love and acceptance. And there was also this video that was showing how, like, if you go into the no-fly zone over by the Antarctica wall, that they come up with fighter pilots surround you, and their orders are to shoot you down. Like, they'll shoot you down. Like, it is mind-boggling to me how people just follow orders. Like, I don't understand with this Idaho farming situation. I don't get why the farmers all don't get together. Like in France, like they could all get together and go gather up all their shit and go dump it on the fucking politicians' lawns and shit. Like here, we all just turn into whiners. It's like, why don't they all come together and just override these other people? Like, we got to stand up to them. We have to stand up to the people who want to control us and tell us that they're in control. We can't keep bending over backwards and doing what we're told. They'll keep you running and running and running. There's never anything. I mean, when does it stop? When we all live at the fucking garbage dump because nobody can afford the $1 million empty houses that are sitting everywhere? It's absurd. All their shit is so absurd. And and however they're doing it, I think with all of the immigrants and stuff coming into all these different places is a part of also to shatter the housing market and stuff. Like, it's all got to shatter, but it's all fucking corrupt as fuck. And then, but when we get to the other part, the Nasaras see everything is free. They've charged us for things that should have been free. So it's not like, oh, look, we get it for free now. No, we allowed ourselves to be paying for shit that we shouldn't have been paying for. And it's so weird because I always had the questions going, like, the water thing, that always got me. I ask a bunch of different times, like, how would there be shortages of water when there's all this salt water? Why wouldn't we use the ocean water? And especially when I was in California, because it was always, oh, there's a drought, there's no water. And always in California. I mean, and there was parts where they wouldn't even let you water your yards and shit. And I'd be like, what is the deal? We got a whole fucking ocean there with all this salt water, but we can't fucking use that. Oh, well, it's because it's the salt. It kills everything. But then we go years later, and here we are having to go get the fucking salt out of the ocean to put in our goddamn water. I was like, okay, this makes no motherfucking sense. It's all fucking lies. So everything should have been free. They could have been figuring out how to clean the goddamn ocean water, clean our goddamn sewage water. Now they've got issues where people have got taking other people's medicines because they're drinking it. You're drinking other people's diseases, all sorts of gross ass shit. And then we soaking it in the bath, and it's so disgusting. It is, but they just treat us like we're just animals. That's how they look at us, like we're just garbage. They don't give a shit. Luckily that they're all going down though, and it is just, I think, arrest after arrest, and it does, to me, it does feel like we're at this dramatic point, especially just the energy on the planet. Like, fuck, it's intense. It's hard to feel like you're real. It's hard to feel like anything's real. It's like, it's so weird. So, anyways, but to me, all of this stuff, like I keep saying, it all has to do with this consciousness becoming aware of itself. And you know, when I'm not just like willy-nilly saying that, it's like what I've witnessed since I woke up, since I went through my stuff. My stuff was even after I first got my brain injury, when I already was having things go weird. I was already having things with time, and I was already having things where I was seeing things three-dimensional. Like, there was a lot of stuff, and I would try and say to people, and people kept thinking I was so weird, I was so crazy, and there was a long time where people kept blaming everything. Well, you know, I just had a brain injury, so that's what's wrong with me. And but what I've witnessed since then, because my brain injury was 09, February, Valentine, I got out of the hospital Valentine's Day in 09. And but what I have witnessed and what I had become aware of is this changing of consciousness, this, you know, all the people being on autopilot, being in their lower chakra, all these people being damaged and not healed, nobody living right, nobody healing, nobody taking care of themselves. We've created just toxic family dynamics. So all of it, we got to clean it all up now, and it starts with us. You know, we're the ones, we got to clean ourselves. Little tootie booty over there. We got to get ourselves together, and then that ripples out, and you know, everything changes, and it will go in these different groups. Like I was saying, there's already a group that's very self-motivated, like, you know, can see things, is working on their healing, working on changing everything about themselves. You know, like I think I'm in that group. But that group that is going in a certain direction. Then the middle group, that they are, a lot of them are awake, questioning things, but still held by the three-dimensional, still would go to the doctor to find out what, you know. And even when I try and play it out, like with Stella, with, okay, well, I could go take her into the doctor to get a diagnosis, to have them say, and then if they say, oh, well, you know, she's got the C word, then they've got a whole treatment plan. Then you're going against their thing. Then it starts a whole other energy thing. So, and then I was thinking, well, what would they do? The same thing what I'm doing. I put her back on the antibiotics and the thing. So I'm going to finish those antibiotics and the horse pace thing. And every time when I do that, those two, her cysts shrink a lot. Like, they're shrinking a lot. So, but she still is, you know, got some whining going on. But this, whatever they're spraying us with, it causes so much inflammation. And inside your body, it causes aches and pains, this not being able to sleep and shit. So so to me, it's like, I'm not gonna go take her to the doctor I play it out. I go through, I look at it and see. But so in the second group, see, the first group, we're a lot more of like, fuck the fucking bullshit. There's a better way. And the second group is they're waking up. They're kind of more confused or which direction to go, but they're having a strong pull. And that is when then things flip. That's how they're going to go that direction. Like it's going to be a lot is going to go that direction. Like I said, it's like everybody's facing this way, but everybody's going to turn and face the other way. It's going to go the other direction. And this third group, the one that is more programmed and stuff, see, I see a lot of them being religious people and stuff. I don't see them just being all like nasty, hateful people. The people who are nasty and hateful, they're they're more lost or playing a role or something. Maybe they're the ones that are going to go because they're so hateful and they keep trying to hurt people and screw people over, because there will be a loss of all these instigators and stuff. And a lot of them are just trying to make money too as criminals, because that's what happens in this fucking world. So some of them get these opportunities to wake up and grow and have their soul call out on them. But there will be people who, will, I don't know, die off in bad situations, car wrecks, fire, I don't know. Like there's weird guy up in New York throwing shit off of the top of a building. Threw a couch, throwing boards, ended up throwing a big cement block thing down. Like it would kill people. And I don't even know if he got arrested or whatever, but people who are just wreaking havoc, just trying to cause drama and pain, and some of them are doing it because they're in such chaos and so confused. And some of them may not even realize if they're alive or not alive. They may feel like they're in a dream. And the frequency can be jacked up and make them feel like they don't have control over their own minds. Like there's so much going on. That's why you can't just get all hung up and caught up and stuff. But this group is very much about angels and devils, and we need to have a government and stuff. So, and I don't know. I think that they're pretty reliant on medical. Like a lot of stuff still has to fall apart for them, and it still is going on. Like these things are falling apart in people's lives every day, and waking people up. Like the Idaho farmers. You'd think with the other shit that went on with the other farmers, with the, I guess that would have been the chicken farmers and the beef farmers, the egg farmers and shit. But now they're on the potato people, and so. And that's gonna, and I eat a lot of potatoes. That's gonna drive the price of the potatoes. It's a pain in the ass. So I don't know. I'm just so sick of all this shit. I just can't wait till things turn. It's turning, but it's like, oh damn, it's so slow. But there's gonna be something that will be dramatic, and it sure seems like it sure is building up. Like, I don't know what they're gonna say about Joe and his mental capacity, if that's what they're going to say he's not running again, and what drama they're going to create around that, or if they're going to start bringing up the money thing, all of the stuff he's involved with. You keep having Hunter in these trial things. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff going on that's not, it's just all these side things going all over the place. So there's a lot going, and anything can happen in any of the days where it seems like it's so tedious and so slow going, but then all of a sudden it's like boom, slap. And that is going to be the part where it's going to flip, where everything's going to flip. And to me, to us who have the awareness, who are kind of like on the edge of waiting, I keep thinking it's going to feel good when it flips. Then the middle people, is going to feel scary. The third people are going to feel like kind of traumatized, very confused, especially if it's something with aliens and shit. That's going to really fucking knock them around, because they're thinking Jesus. And then all of a sudden all these space people come down out of their ships and say, well, sorry, there's no Jesus coming. Like, that guy's been gone for a while. He's I don't know. Plus, there's a lot of stuff saying that they made him up altogether. They took two different deities and merged them and made that and made it, like, who knows? Who knows? All I know is that when I was a kid and I was being drugged to church and I was asking questions, well, why about this? What about that? And I couldn't go with the just believe it. And then plus I had these people talking in my head who were telling me other things and I believed them. Like, I don't know. Came here to have this contact, I guess. Sure wasn't questioning them. Everything they showed me and stuff always made sense. So anyways, but everybody's got to ask their own questions. I think you got to make contact with your guides and, you know, start communicating with your guides for your clarity and stuff. So anyways, that is what I think is happening. It's not all about all this other stuff that people want to get hung up on. I don't think it's anything to panic about, to, you know, like we got to be reading our Bible every minute until this happens, or we've got to be in groups and plus right now with everything being so chaotic, I know it's helpful when you hear other people say like how crazy it is, how chaotic, because when you're feeling like there's nothing to hold on to, you just feel like you're just out feeling like crazy, like am I dreaming, is this real, what's going on, am I here, am I not here, that it feels better when you hear other people saying, oh yeah, I'm going through that too. Yeah, I'm going through all these different pains, it's different weird shit. And then plus it's just, I don't know, there's always a sense of disappointment, like, fucking hell, it's June. God damn, when is this gonna go down? It's all about like, oh my God, this is just wild. So anyways, as it goes, all the things that push, you know, to get you to feel that way, that's for you to process, to to I don't know, if I think things like that, then I'll get some kind of message or something. Like if I get whiny about it, it is like it very much takes the focus off of me and shows me that all the people, how it affects all the people, and how the important thing is all the people waking up. And you know, it's not just so you can go have, you know, the good part of your life. No, it's the whole world is trying to have a good part of their life. So we got to just be patient. And it's not like anybody's doing it wrong. Remember that. It's not like they're making a choice not to wake up. It's in them. They have a trigger point. They have trigger points throughout the whole process of what's supposed to wake them up, what they're supposed to go through, what they're supposed to learn from, how they're supposed to look at, like, it's all already in them. So us standing and stomping our feet and whining and crying, you know, this could all end if you just wake up. If you just wake up, we could all, that's not the way. That's not it. That is you needing to see, like, you got a problem with impatience or control or whatever. You have to, you know, figure out what it is, why you are having your reaction, and how to get control of your reaction, how to get control of your mind and your emotions. So that is what we're in the process of. So, and there's a lot of drama. There's a lot of shit going down, a lot of stuff to challenge you about fear and trust. And, you know, I say, you know, trust the universe. I've trusted it since I was young. And I've gone through challenges, like when everything gets disrupted. Yeah, it's hard to think like, okay, everything's going to work out. Everything's going to work out. But yeah, that's how it works. Things get broken up, and it's when you're getting shifted into something better. So you want to have things fall apart, because then it will go. But there is also a process when things fall apart, is you got to go through the process of loss. And that's why also don't get stuck in your process of healing. People prolong it. They get stuck victimizing themselves, feeling sorry for themselves, shaming themselves. So you got to be more proactive and more working through things. So anyways, just remember, while you're going through it all, you got to remember to love yourself, love everyone, and have a loving day, because it's up to you. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.